Hello, filmmakers, and welcome to the Wedding Film School Show, a podcast dedicated to the craft, business, and personal aspect of running a wedding film brand. The Wedding Film School Show is hosted by myself, Jared Haskell, and my longtime business partner, Jason McCutcheon. If you're looking for free resources or to get your wedding film business off the ground, make sure to check out weddingfilm.school or check us out on Instagram for news, giveaways, and more.
Welcome to the Wedding Film School Show. We are doing a pretty unique series right now called The Road to Clarity. And we're going to be talking to some of our clarity speakers just about getting clear on some stuff. And, you know, I'm really excited. Hopefully you've got a ticket. We have a lot of people coming. We're really excited. And now we're opening it up to day rates. So if you want to come and just attend the conferences and have your food paid for and not stay at the hotel, you can come for $999 and hang out with us. And we're excited about that too. And I'm really excited about the guests today. It's just going to be me, no Jared, and Lindsey Conklin. How you doing, Lindsey?
I'm good. I'm hoping to get some clarity next month.
Yeah, hopefully you will. Yeah, you might need some help. You need a little help, and so I'm here to help you, you know. So for those that don't know, Lindsey is one half of the duo for Rêve films out of the West Coast. They are, I would say, one of the premier providers of luxury wedding filmmaking. They're pretty entrenched in that market and have made all their hay over there, and they're doing awesome stuff. Lindsey, so we're going to be talking today. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, are you still shooting on this thing? This
what is that, a C70 or C80?
This is a C70. Are you still, but like, are you using the C80 too?
Well, so we had Canon let me borrow the C80 for a couple months. I took it to Africa. I took it to a couple weddings we did. And it's amazing, that C80.
That's awesome.
I had to give it back.
Yeah.
But I love our C70s. I shoot on a C300 Mark III, but we have a couple C70s. Cherish uses one of them. And then I also have an R5C. But yeah.
Does anyone ever make fun of you for trying to compensate for something because you have to have a C300?
No, they don't.
They're like, oh, you're cool.
I don't even know what you mean by that, Jason.
Oh, I don't either.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
So, so Lindsey's a Canon shooter, and I used to be a Canon shooter, and I'm not gonna lie, I picked up that camera and I was just opening up the menu, and I'm like, I feel like I'm at home. Mm-hmm. Isn't that weird? How a camera can be like that? They
can, yeah. Cameras give us the feels. I love my Canon cameras. I'm a diehard Canon fanboy.
Everybody talks about the color on Canons, which I think is great. But my thing is, I actually think they have the best menus.
Yeah.
I
agree. I agree with that. Especially the cinema. I love the cinema menus, you know, but even just like the DSLR or the mirrorless, you know, menus are just simple, easy to use. You can pick it up, use it. It's great. Yeah, we love our Canon cameras. We went to Sony a few years ago, like 2017.
You took like a little
for a couple years, and
a little detour.
We weren't happy. Yeah, a little detour. Had to go, you know, see what it was all about, and now we're back with Canon. So yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Should we even be talking about this? Are you gonna get in trouble with? Don't you have like relationships with?
No. And I actually tell everybody, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna talk about whatever I want on the podcast. We can't do that. When I'm Huxley Film, I belong to you. But when I'm doing this,
that's true.
We have to talk about everything. So
that's probably good values. You know?
Yeah. Here's the thing. So I want to talk to you about something today that I think is you have a unique perspective on, Lindsey.
Okay.
And that's really just tell me if you have a more Lindsey Conklin diplomatic way. For those that don't know Lindsey, he's a bit of a wordsmith, and so I've always thought this. I think wedding filmmaking is one of the lowest like status vendors, especially at like high end luxury weddings. Because I have found it maybe not always the case at like lower end weddings where like you're a big deal that they're hiring a filmmaker. It's actually probably more likely to be a really big deal at those weddings because you're like, it's not every wedding has that. But Do you think that I'm like totally out to lunch to say that like wedding filmmaking is maybe like, and if you don't know, there are is like a little bit of a pecking order in the wedding industry, especially in the luxury level. Am I crazy for saying that?
I think in general, we're down there for sure. Videographers, we're down there. But it's not, I don't think it's because of people in the wedding industry. It's not because of anything that planners, are perpetrating. I think just in general, videography still is a newer thing. And so some people want it and some people don't, and it doesn't matter. It's not about money oftentimes, especially at that ultra luxe, high end, high net worth clients. They might have all the money in the world, but if they don't value what you provide, they're not going to spend their money. That's why they're millionaires and billionaires, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's and I think planners, they try to push video because they know how important it is, and it is one of those things that everybody regrets not having when they don't get it. But at a certain point, a planner can only push so much, like, oh, you got to get video. You sure you don't want video? It's really good, But at the end of the day, if your client doesn't want it, they don't want it, and the planner is not going to make them spend money they don't want.
No, and I'm curious, like. You've been in the industry a while and you've had probably multiple iterations and had lots of growth. Do you find that the like nuts and bolts product, the like what clients are wanting you to do is vastly different now that you guys are kind of servicing the ultra luxury market than maybe 5 years ago, where maybe not so much? Or do you think it's more of the same with like, what is the biggest difference that you've seen?
Yeah, I think when you get into a certain level, at least these are our clients, and I think there are luxury clients that may be different, but I think with our clients, like what's important to them is not so much like a bunch of footage of themselves. They like that stuff too, but it's more footage of their families and their friends having a good time. Like, our clients by and large are not, having these lavish weddings and spending this money to necessarily show off. They want to just entertain their friends and family.
And has that changed? Like, are you making a different video in a very tangible way than you did 5 years ago, minus like normal creative improvements? Or do you find I'm basically selling the same thing for whatever I'm charging now to what I used to sell for $8,000?
I think we've gotten better for sure. Minor creative improvements for sure. Things that we do differently. I think we do focus a lot more on trying to find like a unique story. 5 years ago, we were probably a little bit more cookie cutter, and of course we have our formulas, but really what, and Cherish as our editor has been growing so much, but she really has a unique way of like seeing people and what's important to them and what they need and kind of tailoring like a video for them. So
is that done in the pitch or just in post?
It's a lot of times it's in post because many of our clients, we don't really get to know ahead of the wedding. So we have to kind of quickly analyze, okay, who are these people? What's important to them? And Cherish is she's an introvert or an ambivert, like she's the type of person that she likes more one-on-one interaction, but also like in a room full of people, she's going to be quiet, but it's not because she's disengaged. It's because she's really observing, she's always been good at like observing people and seeing what's important and remembering, like little things that anyone says or something they do or a look they make or what song was playing when that person said, oh, I really like this, or, or this reminds me of that, so, but, yeah, I think our work has definitely matured in the last 5 years.
But are couples asking for like totally different videos in the luxury? Like, I want this crazy video. Or are they kind of going like, in your mind, like, I want a highlight film, and like at the core of what they're really asking for, it doesn't change? Or is it changed dramatically how they come in the door and what they ask for?
I think some people want crazy videos, they want the creative, and we have had those clients over the years. oftentimes, some of our clients are hiring us because they know they need a video, but they don't really know what they want or what they need. You know, we'll always, if we get the chance to kind of like consult with them ahead of time, you know, we'll ask, hey, what are you looking for in a video? When you picture watching your video, you know, 6 months from now, like, what are you thinking? You know, what are you picturing? And some people have a clear idea of what that is. Some people don't. Some people just say, we trust you guys, do your thing. And what we saw, the samples that you provided, we love. So, you know, if we get something like that, we're happy. But other people, I think a common theme is, at least with our clients, the people that hire us, they're like, we want to see our friends and family having a good time. And that's kind of what's important to them. They're the more candid stuff, you know, not the so posy, you know.
Well,
I will say this, our videos have less and less like posed portrait moments in them than they used to.
So I'm in the middle of this journey, Lindsey.
Yeah.
And so my experience of shooting luxury weddings is a little more, maybe I'm in the middle of it. Like, and I also have the 3 brands that I operate. And what I've experienced is that the couples on the front end essentially ask for the same thing. And where the difference is on the tail end. Mm-hmm. And so in terms of our status in the industry, there isn't really a front end opportunity to set yourself apart in the pitch or to make wedding filmmaking more appealing. It's not like couples who are rich have different things that they want necessarily, even though that some do. They have more resources. But it's so like your hit rate is actually similar, more similar than people realize. And so when you look at like this, our status as a vendor, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I see it as...
You're wrong.
Oh,
you're wrong.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding.
I am wrong about a lot. It's very supply and demand. It's not that complicated. It's 98% of couples hire a photographer. And so every single film that you get, and that's a real stat I've read, every single wedding has a pile of people who are being asked to shoot it, and they're all competing. And that actually drives the price up. And in wedding filmmaking, you know, like you've experienced this. I've seen this in if you don't know this about the luxury market, and Lindsey, jump in here, but a lot of these weddings that you're seeing, the couple didn't even want a video.
Yeah.
Either the planner paid for it themselves because it's such an important showpiece, and the stakes are very high at that level. You have only so many $2 million weddings, and even if you're a high stakes planner. Or the couple technically bought it, but they don't even know that they bought it.
Right.
They didn't care at all. The planner wanted you to have it because the planner. And so if you see these luxury weddings and you think, oh, luxury couples love and value video and normal people don't. I have found just as much of the time where people are like, nah, we don't want video.
Well, yeah. And I'll tell you a few stories, but just to comment on that, you know, especially if a client is a member, like a well-known member of society or a celebrity or whatever, they're getting they're worried about their privacy a lot. And video is very
vulnerable.
Yeah. A picture they can review, they can check it out. They can say, I like that. I don't alter this, change it, but video, oftentimes doesn't lie, and it's vulnerable, and they're concerned about privacy. And so they kind of are less apt to doing that. I don't know if I learned this ahead of time, but one of my first examples of this is we got hired by a planner to do video because their billionaire client did not want a videographer. But this was a big wedding for the planner, and she wanted, detail video. She wanted like a behind the scenes video and stuff. And so out of her own pocket, paid and flew us out to create this content for her. And so that was like the first time I realized, like, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you don't value something, you're not going to spend money. And oftentimes that's why these people have a lot of money, because they're not, they're not frivolous with it, right?
I wonder
Unless
if it's
they
something
care.
Inherent, like you brought up, in the idea of video too. Like, I'm not saying we have a ceiling as
Right.
filmmakers and what our market penetration could be, and I don't know the answer to that. but I do think there's a human reason why this isn't everywhere, which also affects where we are in the totem pole and the booking cycle. Is like, if every single person wants flowers, that's going to be a high priority on the front end of the booking cycle, because there's a lot of competition for the premium vendors. Pretty much, like, most every wedding filmmaker, they might choose to limit their bookings, but most everybody has open dates. At the, like, if somebody called you who was like a premier partner, Lindsey, and was like, I got an insane opportunity for you in 3 weeks, and you do, you'd be like, I could do that. Like, you're not like a person who's like potentially turning down 200 dates a year.
Right.
No,
that's true. Well, it's funny. The last wedding we just delivered, the bride's father is a celebrity, but also the bride has like worked on projects with her dad, like produced TV shows or movies or something like that. So this is somebody that like is kind of like in that world, values storytelling, all that stuff. But we just delivered the film, and we got this beautiful email from the bride. She was just like so thankful, and she was like, I wasn't sure if I even wanted video. Like, I wasn't even sure that I wanted it. Basically kind of saying like she was reluctant, to even have a videographer, but
it feels like weird to people.
Right. She ended up hiring us, and she's like, I'm so glad I did. I was so wrong, you guys. And she just gushing over her, what we provided. But that's not the first time I've ever received that email.
I've had that exact same conversation.
We get that email or those comments or that text or that DM, all the time. And so it is hard. It is a challenge, so you have to be good at sales, you have to be good at marketing yourself. You have to be good at connecting with people. And then once you do that, you have to blow them away with your work. And
you got to deliver. I think you touched on something, because me, like, I always want to, like, I always have a cross to bear, because it's fun. Like, it's fun to have a mission, something that is important to you and something to talk about. And one of the things I have been talking about is this kind of topic, which is like, how do we raise our profile in the wedding industry as a vendor category? You're the only person I've ever seen speak at Engage. Maybe I'm wrong, but in terms of wedding filmmakers, like, we don't get asked, like, even the idea of like when a big publication releases like a wedding, oh, this one's picked up by Vanity Fair. They're not going to put the video, maybe, but not usually.
Very rarely.
Not usually. It's like, that kind of pisses me off, not to lie. Like, I'm always like, we're putting a lot of work into this. We're very passionate about this. We deserve to be recognized. Like, it makes me mad when I know you shot a wedding, Lindsey, and I only saw the photos. Right.
Thank you.
So like, on a category, like, just as an industry person, I don't like it. But I think it's important, and you brought something up really cool, which is, it's not, and we've been talking around it, right? All this conditions. It's not because anyone in the industry is out to get you. Why don't you expand on that? Because I think that's such if you're thinking about like, what is our resistance that we're up against, it's not wedding planners.
No, it's not. Wedding planners, they want it all. They want all the pictures. They want all the video. They want all that content. It helps them. It's not the wedding planners. It's video has a certain connotation still in, I think, certain clients' minds, and some people do value it, I think that number is growing, I think that number is growing. I've seen it certainly in, the last 15 years plus that we've been doing this, and there's going to be that moment as a videographer in your career where you get hired before the photographer, that one client that hires you before they even have a photographer, and when that happens, it just feels so good, like, because that person values what we do. But that's not every person, and it's not because anyone's out to get us. I think there's a lot of factors that, go into people not valuing video as much. I think they have a certain idea in their mind of what the wedding video is. Maybe it's more old school because they've seen their parents' wedding videos from the 90s or 80s or whatever, and they're like, I don't want that. That's, or maybe they see something that just doesn't resonate with them. Or I've had clients that didn't want video and ended up hiring us because they were at a wedding and saw all these videographers swarming everything and ruining every moment, in their mind.
Or maybe they're like piss off the photographer and the photographer they really like. And,
right. So there's a lot of different reasons, but I think it's slowly shifting, but no one's out to get us videographers, and it's like if you were lactose intolerant, you wouldn't like be, cursing at the TV every time a Got Milk commercial came on. Like, they're out to get me.
Some people would. Big milk. Big dairies out there.
Big dairies, trying to get me, to drink their product and die.
I think it's just like natural, like resentment, because like I have definitely been, when I'm sitting at the photographer table and I'm like talking to some person and they got paid just as much as me, and I look at their portfolio and I'm like, you're not doing nothing.
Right.
Like, and it's like, this is me. I'm not saying that's right, by the way.
Right.
But it's just like, I understand. Like, I want to like connect with you. If you're listening to this and you're pissed off about it, I get it.
Right.
But I think it's important to understand, no one is, the person that's doing this to you,
right,
is not the people in the industry necessarily. It is the public. And you can't rage against like the customer.
No, you can't. If you're mad that a photographer is charging twice as much as you and doing half the work, then go be a photographer. And there are plenty of videographers that have done that, and been successful. But if you love what you do and you want to do more of it, there are ways to, use or harness, that that angst or that resentment and get out there and get these jobs, so.
Well, it's so few people are doing it too, right? I don't want you to come and try to compete with me, but I'm telling you, like, not a lot of people are really going for it.
Right. So, and no, it's true. But I think if you're just angry about it and you're just wasting your time complaining about it, you're not doing something productive. You're not doing something positive that's going to help your business. Complaining about it on Facebook or whatever is not going to help you.
No, and the problem is you're missing where the problem really lies. And so I think everything you expressed in terms of like couples, I mean, I could tell you across the board, like I said, because I have 3 brands right now and we're selling to 3 different couples, and the discussions are not significantly different for a $3,000 or a $20,000 wedding.
Oh, totally.
Like the people want the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Typically. Now, their weddings are different, so like there'll be differences. But in general, like they have the same kind of attitude about it. And like the same story you told, like I did a exact same situation. I shot a wedding. I got paid to shoot for the planner. Mm-hmm. We shot it. The wedding blew up, by the way. And then the couple said, we should have got video.
Mm-hmm.
But her sister is hiring us for a huge wedding next year with like a custom tent, skyline tents, all the good stuff. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a big, huge $1 million affair, and we're going to get paid full rate and all that. And so it's like, if you're listening to this, and I think as much as I've always said, acknowledging your status is really just going to help you, because it's going to help you know what you're up against, and you're going to operate your business differently. For you, you go to, you used to do the Engage rounds. You talk to everyone about Engage. Now you're talking about a bunch of different stuff. As you guys have kind of worked your way up in the industry, like, how important was it for you to kind of evaluate, here's what the like actual sales environment is? How do I work into it? Instead of who's who, here's what I want to do, or here's me as an artist, or do you think that kind of stuff gets in the way for people a lot? Or do you think it's like, no, it's so critical actually to making your name in that part of the industry?
Well, if I think I understand your question, I think sales is huge. I think it's more than half the battle. Your work needs to be good.
Yes.
But and we've said this, countless times, it's not about your work. If you could have, just with any business, people have to know about you. You have to market it, right? You have to, and then once you market it, you have to be able to sell it. Once you get people in the door, you got to be able to get their money, right? You got to close them, so sales is so important. Sales and marketing, so important. And I think a lot of people, videographers in general, stereotypically speaking, they think if I just create this incredible work, everyone's going to come banging down my door.
They're all going to like it.
Right. They're all going to like it, and I'm going to get the bookings. And that's just not true, So, sales is everything. But even like, it's a different type of sales, I don't know if you guys have this experience with your brands. I have a sales background. Before I went full-time and joined my wife doing Rêve, for almost 10 years, I was a sales manager and then the COO of a big e-commerce,
by the way,
website.
If you're listening to this, I'm not discriminating against Cherish. I would love to have her on every podcast, but
she
doesn't
doesn't
always
like
want to do it.
That's her superpower, though.
She's
and
awesome.
That's her superpower. Anyway. That's a whole nother discussion. If you come to Clarity, we can talk about Cherish, and I'll tell you all about it.
I'll say something nice about Cherish before you move on. Cherish is one of the few people that will send me a personal text message about something that she liked.
Nice.
Like,
why is my wife texting you?
Exactly. I said the same thing to her. I was like, go away. But no, it's like, that's who she really is. Like, she's just authentic and sincere. And so I love that about her.
I mean, absolutely. I'd rather talk about her than what we're talking about right now, but let's land the plane here. What was I saying? What were we talking about?
We were just talking about like how,
sales.
Your technique is actually
it's a different type of sales.
Yes.
Different type of sales, e-commerce sales, totally different. I mean, there's similarities. I think there are fundamental sales techniques that, work across the board, but for us, you're selling e-commerce, and it was high dollar stuff like furniture and stuff like this. It's like, okay, what is it going to take to get that, credit card out, right? If I could do this, are you ready to place that order today? Is very, but with weddings, especially wedding videography, it's not so much about the dollar amount, and that is a factor, but it's about creating an emotional attachment not only to your work but also to you as a person, because people they understand, these couples understand that you're going to be around them all day, and they want to like you, they want to invest in you, they want to know that they have a connection there,
Yeah,
so it's a totally different thing.
I would say, we've definitely seen that at all levels.
But at the same time, with that said, I will absolutely, work deals and pricing, lower pricing or cut corners, not cut corners, but make things happen if there's a value proposition in it for me,
Mm-hmm.
So if I think, hey, this wedding or working with this planner or, getting published, by that blog or whatever is valuable to me, then yeah, I'll work with you on that. But
how much is it
different?
My take on this whole idea is it's a little of this and a little of that. And some of it is what we talked about earlier, where wedding video probably never will be as ubiquitous as photography because it's by very nature a very exposing art form, right? Mm-hmm. So there's the market side. But the other side is I'm not like an expert about anything. I feel like I have so much to learn in life, but we're pretty good at selling weddings.
Mm-hmm. I've heard.
Yeah, we do a few. And when people always call me, like I'm usually charging more still than most people, even at the price we are. We're charging, I think, 7.5 or 8 now for a day of coverage over 100 times a year. And that's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. But when I talk to them, they're like, oh, I want to do more. And I say, okay, Tell me who the top planners in your market are.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what the top venues in your market are. Tell me who the top photographers in your market are.
This is when videographers ask you
Yes,
for
when I
advice?
do a coaching
Yeah.
call.
Mm-hmm.
And never once has a filmmaker ever been able to answer that question.
Mm-hmm.
And this, to me, is the crux of the issue.
Mm-hmm.
When you are dealing with, if you're a filmmaker and you don't know anything about the wedding industry, you're not going to know how to navigate it. Like if
So
you're
true.
sitting with Lynn Easton and you don't know that that's Lynn Easton,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know that why that's a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
you're asking an industry that doesn't need you to let you in the door because you're so great and you don't even respect them enough to know their names.
Right. It's true.
And I think that right there is like at the crux of this is like too many filmmakers scoff at the wedding industry. And I'm like, the wedding industry is how you charge a premium. It's no other way.
Mm-hmm. No, 100%. And I credit all that for us to Cherish. She was the one early on that knew who these people were and was like, oh, that's so-and-so, that's so-and-so. And then she educated me. But it's so true. Like, you have to know the wedding industry. If you're just stuck in the Facebook groups, in the videographer Facebook groups, and it's just this vacuum of the same, stuff being regurgitated, so you have to get out there and get to know the wedding industry. And what's nice about Clarity is, I've seen the guest list. Also the speakers that are coming, like those people know the wedding industry. That's why they're going to Clarity. Right.
Yes.
And so if you're somebody that's, listening and you're like, man, shoot, I don't know who Lynn Easton is or who Marcy Bloom is.
Yeah, we're not making fun of you, by the way.
No, not by all means. No, we're not. But come to Clarity, pick our brain, and we'll tell you what's up, and I think it's important, that you know the wedding industry. And also once you know those people, and if you ever get the chance to be in the room with somebody outside of just photography, videography, you really start to like learn how to, you grow and you learn a different perspective, things that you can apply to your own business.
Way better storyteller now. I am a way better storyteller.
The stuff, as many things as I've learned from other wedding videographers, I've learned just as much from stationers and, florists and designers and planners. And, so it's important. It's important to get out there and get a more well-rounded perspective than I'm a videographer and I'm just going to do this incredible work and everyone's going to hire me. But then you get angry when that doesn't happen. It's just like,
yeah, it's not
it's
just
their fault.
Yeah, it's not even just your fault. I mean,
Right.
it's a little bit your fault. You're the only one who can change it, probably.
Right.
But it's not because your films are bad. That's for sure.
No.
No. And what's funny is like sometimes I'm like, I mean, this is just me, but I'm like, I think that film's a little too good, buddy. Like I've had that conversation with people. I'm like, a couple is going to look at that film and think about what that couple went through to make that film with you, and they're not going to want to do it.
That's true.
They're going to see like that.
At least our clients, a lot of them, like, they don't want to spend a ton of time, doing all that staged video stuff. I think there are those clients that
They
do
do
wanna
exist. They do exist.
But the people that hire us, they just want to have a good time with their friends and family, and
So to kind of like wrap it up, first of all, so appreciative of your time, and I'm excited to spend a couple, some time with you in real life, and also excited for what people are going to, I mean, Lindsey's an open book. If you come to Clarity, you can get a coaching opportunity with him, and I think we're going to do something special there. So in terms of like some free opportunities, but we want you guys to have like a personalized conversation, right? Because this is a unique journey. If you're a filmmaker, like if you're making films in St. Louis, it's very different than if you're making films in Boston too. So every market is different. But to close it out, what would you say to someone who, forget about the luxury market necessarily, One of the things Ray always says is, if you're not in the top 5 in your local market, why are you even considering luxury? Which I think I basically agree with. I don't totally agree, but I think mostly the wisdom is sound, which is you need to be perceived to be a high-end vendor in your own market. And I think that's where people are stuck. Tell me if I'm wrong there, but I think a lot of people are. That's what they're up against. That's the ceiling they keep hitting. What would you say to someone who's like, I make great films, I've been doing it a long time, my systems are good, I know how to sell if I got on the phone with a couple, like I'm good in all these areas, and I just can't seem to break into the top tier weddings in my own market? What would you say to that person? Like, what would be like a tactical thing you might talk them through?
Yeah. Well, I can't say it's a secret.
Okay.
It's a secret. You got to come.
You just got to spend, you have to spend minimum $999 to know.
Just kidding. That was a plug for you.
Thank you. Oh, you're so good at sales.
No, you know what? I think there's not one answer to that question. There's a unique answer to each individual, you know?
So.
And so, I guess in general, what I would say is you need to see your business from an outside perspective.
Oh, that's so good.
You know, when you're in it, you don't, there's certain things that you just can't see, right? When you're in it, you're doing it and you're like, man, I've just been doing it and it's great. And my bills are getting paid, but I just can't seem to be. So I think the biggest thing is getting out an outside perspective. And then that will help you see what are those missing pieces, you know, or missing piece that is going to help you take it to the next level. But everyone's different. Everyone is unique. Some people, it may be their personality, you know, is getting in the way of it.
I'm shocked how many people it's their like artistic purity that is in the way.
Right.
Like it's a good quality. Like these aren't bad qualities. These are not things you just change. You just, clarity is the perfect word for it.
Yeah.
I would say this, like the number one most important thing is to first know the truth about you. Who are you?
Yeah.
What is your business like? And maybe I would add another layer, which is more businessy, which is how are you perceived?
Yeah. Because it doesn't matter who you think you are. Who do other people think you are too, you know? If they think you're something that is totally different than what you think you're portraying, you know, then you got a problem. So it's important to be self-aware, but also be aware of how other people are looking at you and what do they say about you when you're not in the room? You know?
That's marketing 101, right?
Totally.
It's like, what does someone say about you when you're not in the room? That's called a brand.
Yeah.
Like it's not you personally. It's just like the brand. What do they say about Rêve, not Lindsey and Cherish? Like, it's like, well, Rêve, like I have all these simple, silly goals that are meaningless, but they help me calibrate. And I always am like, I want to be the number one performing feed on every planner's Instagram or number one performing reel. I don't always accomplish that.
No, but we look at that stuff too, you know, like.
But I know that not because of me. I know what it means to them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they are paying attention to that stuff too.
This person helps me. When I work with them, it helps me. So I will work with them. And if what I give them doesn't help them, I'm not providing value.
Right.
And so it's like, I think like just taking a step back and realizing like any criticism of your business is not necessarily a criticism of you.
Totally.
It's like you don't personify your art. You have to extract yourself from it and view it as a product. And until you view it that way, you're going to limit your opportunities because you're going to take everything personally.
Right. No, you can't take it personally. As many things that are personal, especially in the wedding industry, when you're going to get help with your business, when you hire somebody as a consultant or you go to Clarity, you have to go in with an open mind and you have to know that everybody there is just trying to help you. You know, no one's trying to put you down, but sometimes you have to take off those rose-colored glasses in order to see the truth, you know, and sometimes it hurts.
It always hurts.
Oh man, I'm making a mistake, but that shouldn't be something that just like sends you into a tailspin. It should be something that motivates you. Like knowing what mistakes you're making is a good thing because now you have some actionable, direction, something some actionable steps that you can take, a direction that you can go to fix it. The worst thing, when you're trying to troubleshoot your business is not knowing what the problem is.
It is. I'll tell you this: if I can't sleep at night, it's because I need to work on a spreadsheet.
Right.
And I know that's crazy, but it's like that's what it is. It's like I'm missing some information, and even if it's bad news that I find out, I'll be good because at least I have I can now grasp the issue.
Totally.
And it's like if you're listening to this and you have aspirations, I think it's good to have aspirations. I think it's even fine to say I want to shoot luxury weddings. Mm-hmm. Fine, great, those are good goals. But you should have something that you want.
Right.
Totally. You need to know what you're after. And in order to know what you're after, sometimes you need to know where you are today. So hopefully, we kind of meandered all around, and we'll have more clarity at Clarity. But I want to see you there, guys, if you're listening. And I want to say about Lindsey and Cherish, but more specifically Lindsey, because he'll be there, is they're an open book. And not only that, they will tell you the truth in a very nice way, nicer than me. And so that might be your style.
We are so much nicer than Jason.
Yes, big time. But what I will say is I've learned this over the years that across the board, whether your name is Alex Douglas or Ray Roman or Lindsey Conklin or Peyton Frank or Jason McCutcheon, we all have very different personalities and benefits that we offer to our clients and our partners, but we all know what those things are. Mm-hmm. And that is the biggest thing I think is the difference between hyper-successful people and marginally successful people. Is hyper-successful people know exactly the benefit they bring to their partnerships. Mm-hmm. And they bring it. And people who are marginally successful, they're kind of trying to be all things to all people. They don't really know where they fit in the room. Like I'm like looking at Engaged, Lindsey, and I'm thinking, how do I get on that? How do I get my editors there to do their social content? Mm-hmm. I'm not thinking, how do I get my name in front of all the planners? Because I know the value I bring. The value I bring to those people is high volume production and pre-production skills and leadership. I don't bring name recognition, like any of that. And so that's just me. So what is that for you? If you're listening to this, who are you? What value do you bring to your partners? And that I think is the most important thing to get clear on. And hopefully if you come to Clarity, you can maybe get some of that stuff straight in your own brain, because I think that's so important going into 2025. So
yep, you'll get it. Now for us, early on, going to, we've already talked about Ray. We went to a Ray Roman workshop in, I think 2013, 2014. And I will say, hearing Ray talk about what he was doing, what he was charging, which just was in a whole nother atmosphere than I even dreamed of. And so even we didn't even know what we needed or what we wanted until we went to that. Mm-hmm. So even if you're listening, you're like, man, I don't know what I need. I don't know what I want. When you go to events like Clarity or, whatever workshop, sometimes it can help you understand, oh yeah, okay, this is the missing piece. This is what
Vision Quest changed my life. Not because I want to do any of the stuff that I learned. I don't remember a single class.
It's also it's the people too that you interact with, it's the other attendees. Even like at Ray Roman's workshop, as many things as we learned from Ray all those years ago, it was that feedback, that real-time feedback from the other attendees.
I remember thinking, I don't want to do that a couple times.
Yeah.
And that was really beneficial because it was like, why am I having a different outcome than these people?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, because I don't want to do this. And they do. And that's, do I want to do that? Well, no. In some cases, I changed. In some cases, I was like, I'm wrong. I should implement this and improve and change this.
Yeah.
In other places, I said, no, I never want to do that. I'm okay with any of the repercussions that come with it. I'm doubling down. But I think like you don't know what makes you stand out in the market until you actually hear people. This is a small, tiny thing. But I saw someone talking the other day, and they're talking about selling rehearsal dinners. Said, I have a really hard time selling a rehearsal dinner for $750. And I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, you shouldn't sell it like that. Like, I sell them all the time for like $3,000 because the way I pitch it is this is less than half of a normal workday, and we're giving you those same amount of hours. So, like, it's just a simple like calibration of how you sell it and what you sell. And when you're around people who are talking about, these are boring nuts and bolts conversations that are not going to inspire anyone on a podcast. But when you sit down with other creatives and they give you like little nuggets on how do I push that person over? Like, I can't wait to talk to you about dealing with PDFs, like dealing with all these annoying things that like I'm running into now in the luxury market where they don't want certain things. They hate HoneyBook. They don't want this. They want, I have to change. I need to sit down and talk to someone who's going to talk about a boring subject that is not very interesting on social media, but it makes a big difference in my business. Yeah.
No, and we, there are always those little moments too. Like I remember going to a workshop that I was speaking at, but it was an in-between moment. I was talking with one of the other speakers. I had listened to their whole presentation, and I took some stuff from it. That's cool, But the like aha moment, this technique that he talked about and showed me that was not in their presentation, by the way.
It never is.
It happened because it just happened because we were talking, and I'm like, man, this and that, and I was like, oh my gosh, that changed my life. That one little thing was like, that's what I needed from this, experience, and like, so yeah, there's so many little things like that, and you can't put a price on that stuff, but it just helps you elevate.
One last thing. One of our great partners at this event is called Second Society. And I just wanted to give them a shout out because we're very appreciative of anybody who wants to give money and jobs to wedding filmmakers. We need more of these people. We need more people who are shooting. We need an industry that's more robust and offers more opportunities for artists. And so I wanted to just give them a shout out. We're so grateful for Second Society to taking part in this event and bringing Lindsey to us for this event. And also, if you haven't signed up for Second Society, head over there. You can get more shooting opportunities. And of course, if you're looking for a second shooter, head over to Second Society. And you're going to get professional people that are going to not suck and will be fun to work with. I've hired off Second Society myself. I know Lindsey has too. And it's a really cool thing that we hope grows into even a cooler thing in our industry.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for us, I love Second Society. It's become almost a requirement. If you want to work with us, I want you to see you on Second Society because I can see who you've worked with, what your reviews are, what are other people saying about you. I can see your work. It's great. secondsociety.io.
It's great site. When we need that in our industry. So I'm always going to advocate for the industry at large because I'm in it. And in some cases, the rising tide does not raise all boats. In this case, I very much think it does. Better shooting and better, more predictable financial opportunities and outcomes for people is really what we're talking about. So thank you for Second Society. And thank you for Lindsey and Cherish and Rêve for being on the podcast and for coming out to Clarity. Any last second things you want to tell people about? Anything you want to say?
No, thank you. Thanks for inviting me to Clarity. I'm excited to connect with everyone, and it's going to be a good time. So appreciate it.
New York, baby. It's the best. So peace. Have a great day, Lindsey. And if you're listening to this, subscribe, like, do the podcast stuff. If you're watching on YouTube, same thing. And we love you guys. All the best. Enjoy whatever weddings you're doing this weekend and have a great time. Bye, guys.